So this scenario itself is a table scenario, but now the scenario is using a table, except the opponent is now at my side. For some twist of fate, which isn't relevant to explain in this video, he unfortunately put both hands on the table. He could have put just one, or sometimes he could have put one hand on the table or grabbed me. The same situations pretty much apply to what we can do. He could put both hands on the table, he could put one hand on the table, or he could punch with the other, or use one hand to pull out a knife, and so on. There are several variations of this situation. But the most basic one, so you can understand the mechanics of how the table works, doesn't mean that in this scenario he's actually going to do that, put his hand on the table and just wait for you to do something. But here you learn how to manipulate your opponent's body when you have a structure, especially around your waist level. So let's go. The most basic and classic of all, okay? Of course, in Brazil, this isn't done very often, but let's consider the situation. Both hands are placed on the table. So the first thing is, I have the surface in his hand. Here, of course, it would be easy to do this, right? Crushing his finger against the table, that's easy. Then controlling his arms here or even pulling him onto the table. This is very simple to do, and there are several people who do this. But for us to really learn to manipulate with more, not mastery, but with more technical refinement, so we will move on to some slightly more complex options. As soon as Alvaro puts his hand on the table, right? Just like if he also put his hand on the table, I could simply pull and go in, draw my weapon, etc. But for what we're going to do, when he puts his hand on the table, I grab it and stick it there. Notice, I hold it so he can't pull away and I break his base. One of his bases here and the other here. He will be in this position here. Now I pull him towards me so that his head is rotated or his body is manipulated in a way that makes him uncomfortable. So when he puts his hand there, I grab it, wrist together with the hand, not just this part, otherwise this part stays free. Here, and I go in, okay? Using the forearm with this strike elbow, okay? Doing this together, holding that other pull towards me. Now he has this crossing of hands, these trapping hands. Now control his head, close it. Then here there's a lasso movement. When you feel it, you strike. Here I have a chokehold. Of course, you could also go in, bite, turn and keep hitting. Use my elbow, hold with a hammer grip, or simply rush in myself. I came here and lifted up to get out. Again, very slow, very classic. He placed his hands on the tables. First, wrist strike. 1, 2 pull. 3, 4, I go in. Foot, right? Or I could even turn as well. Foot, headbutt, etc. So, again, notice her very basic mechanics. When he puts his hand down very slowly, notice what happens to his body here now. Right? If I just pull here all at once, he already ends up like this. And now, it's easy to create my entry and my lock. I can even lift up to guide him, or make a move as well. To make him turn, or some slightly more violent moves. So again, all at once now, a bit faster. So I'm here, he put it, I went, I turned, I felt the hit. Again, very aggressive. It could even be a trauma to his groin. And sometimes I go in, pull, and go again. 1, 2, 3, or I can even turn 3, 3. Guide him over here, lifting, etc. There are several other alternatives, but this is the basic one. Control, hyperextension, control to get into a lock, a choke, a stranglehold called a loop.